Okay, taking a look at a female long jumper. I'm not quite sure the age, but we're going to see how she approaches and what her jumps look like. Okay, it looks like somebody who's just getting started jumping. So, one of the things that I think it's important to do is to step back and think about what it is you're actually trying to accomplish in whatever event that you do. So the point of the long jump is to generate enough speed so that when you take off, um, that horizontal momentum is matched by your vertical force that you produce at takeoff. So she gets a decent amount of vertical force, so that's good. But what I'm looking at is, did she really need to run this far? Because she got up to speed basically right there. There was no real gear change from here to there. So from here to here, all you're doing is fatiguing yourself. So I think we see a lot of professionals with the very, very, very long run-ups and stuff. That's good if at this point you're at your optimal speed. But she got up to her speed like right there. And from here to here, it was just kind of a momentum maintenance. I'm not even going to say speed maintenance, it's just maintaining momentum. So you felt like you were doing a lot of work, but the problem is what happens between here and here is a whole lot of fatigue. So you're kind of wearing yourself out. So by the time it comes time to jump, you've actually taken away quite a bit of energy. And you can kind of see how that's affected her because she's not pushing off the ground. She just lifts her knee, and the hip flexion is what gives her the upward momentum. And why that's important is that when she goes in flight, she has to keep holding onto that tightness in the hip flexor. The hips can't be free. So what does she have to do? She has to use her shoulders and stretch her head and neck, everything forward to try to keep everything going forward when this position here shouldn't happen until way over here. So essentially this is the peak of her jump. Even though it seems like it's here, her jump is peaked right there. And then now you're just waiting to land. So we want to be able to push that peak out a little bit further. The two things I would change is, number one, I would start the approach maybe right there. Sorry, like probably right there. Learn how to get all the speed you need at that point. Really aggressively take off through the ground. Try to put a hole in the ground when you take off. Don't just step. And let that force go through the ground and try to make the vertical height that you get come from that right leg rather than the left knee coming up. The left knee will work off the right leg. But here it's like you're trying to do a step up by just lifting your knee. This position is the peak of your jump, and that should happen here. But you're just doing it way too soon. And a lot of it is because you're already fatigued and you're not really putting force through the ground. There's a lot of other things that need to be fixed, but those would be the two main things I would focus on, especially with someone of this experience level. So just to reiterate, start with about half of the approach that you're taking. I would start probably right about here. Learn how to get the speed that you need, and then when it comes time for you to take that takeoff step, really stomp through the ground, and don't make it about the knee lift. The knee lift is secondary, not primary, okay? Make it about putting force through the ground, and I think you'll find a lot of these things in flight and in the landing clean themselves up. Give that a try.